definitely, man, easy. You got it. What else? I'll get to that later. Welcome to In My Bag with Backpack Jeff, where we connect with ordinary people doing extraordinary things. And today, I got a very special guest here with me, man. It's been over 10 years since I've seen this dude, man. But when you see somebody who's just simply in their bag, man, y'all know what I do. Y'all know I go and connect with him, man. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brandon Scott. What's going on, bro?
Hello.
How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Thank you for the intro. I feel the same way about seeing you. That's what's dope.
Hey, look, man, when I sent, I was like, yo, I think we connected probably like a year or two ago at an event at a shoe store in Silver Spring. And I was like, yo, let me follow him, let me see what he's doing, what he's got going on. And I was just looking and I was admiring and I was like, yo, this dude is in his bag, man. I was like, this dude is doing some really nice things. So I was like, look, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know how I'm going to connect with him, but I'm going to connect with him on some capacity. And this was it, man. So how you been, man?
I've been good, man. Like to piggyback or just to follow what you're saying, it's kind of the same way, right? Like I've just been kind of looking for the next move and continuously keeping myself moving forward. Taking the health aspect from purely fitness to like mental and spiritual and just kind of like our overall health.
Yeah.
Because there's so many different versions of that for so many people.
Yeah, for sure.
What I mean? And mine doesn't look a lot like anybody else's, so I figure why not try to reach out and inspire people through their own versions of that as well.
Absolutely, man. So you mentioned fitness, and that's definitely where I want to start, man, because fitness is so important, man. I really find myself like when I'm not working out, I'm more tired. I'm more lax. Like my days don't go as long as they should. I got headaches and stuff like that from not working out, and I'm like, man, like what's going on? And I realized the reason why I'm feeling that way is because I'm not working out.
Right.
Tell me how you got into fitness or why fitness.
Okay, so a quick backstory, which is hilarious.
Yeah.
I played football at our high school.
Yep.
But I did not enjoy the working out part. I was all about the competition. Because if it's me versus you, I realized very early on I have a switch where it's like when it's competition time, I can turn it on. I don't necessarily have to be associated to the preparation of that. Again, that's young man stuff, right? So then I got to school. I went to a Big Ten school, Ohio State, and everyone there is an athlete. That's like athlete central.
Right.
And honestly, there was nothing else to do in Columbus, so I started going to the gym, started working out. That's what everyone does. And I went to school as an engineering major because I just like building stuff. I've always been fascinated with the human mind.
Right.
And I've always just been fascinated with mechanical operations of anything.
Right.
And I started putting together my own versions of workouts. I mean, some of it was the Ohio State football training program. I had a lot of friends playing on the team.
Sure.
But after I got back, I was a little body dysmorphic. I didn't realize until I started lifting weights in high school, I was real small. Like dangerously small to be playing the way I was playing. But I told myself I was bigger, and that's how it felt, right?
Right.
So then I get to school, and I start lifting, and it was people walking around like, yo, B, you kind of swole, bro. Like, what's going on? I didn't see it.
Right.
In the mirror, I still saw that slim dude, which is crazy because before that, I always saw the big dude. So I just was like, yo, I have to dive deeper into why this is. One, mechanically, I'm able to do something my coaches could never get me to do in high school. Two,
what's that?
Which was like put on weight, like enjoy lifting out,
right?
Like lifting, it hurt. I mean, let's be real,
right?
But what it was is I was able to realize it was the frame of mind I was in that was doing it,
right? And
then the mechanics came second. First was how I had to like look at what I was doing, and then I made the crazy decision that my mom thought I was crazy for and switched my major to kinesiology, which is basically like biomechanics,
right? And
the rest was history. I started really diving into like, is there a way to get people to their highest potential? That doesn't have to be cookie cutter, either you do it this way or it doesn't work. Yeah. Like, can people find their own way? And once I decided to do that, I literally started working as a personal trainer while I was still in school, and then just kept going and kept going.
You built the clientele while you was in school.
Yeah, I went from Valleys to Equinox, and the particular location is like top 3 in the country. So it was like I went from being just a good trainer at a gym to being like around the best trainers in the world. And that again reshaped my mind on how to do it. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do this for everybody.
Oh man, there's a lot to unpack with what you just said. First off, I want to start at the point when you told your mom that you were changing your major because, and the reason I want to start there is because I told my mom that I was changing my major from electrical engineering. I've always been fascinated with watches and cell phones and stuff like that. Like, I mean, I had it all. I used to have the little watch that controlled the TV, so I was in class, I used to turn the TV on, and the teachers would be like, what the hell is that going on? I don't know, maybe you got a timer on it. I mean, the timer turns the TV off, not turns it on. Right. But I used to be fascinated with all of that, and I told my mom the reason I changed from electrical engineering was because I couldn't do science.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a firm believer of, if you don't know something about science already, you can't learn science.
Okay.
I can learn the basics of science, you know what I'm saying? I can, but I just can't learn all of it. It's too hard. What was that conversation like with your mom when you told her?
It was twofold. One, my mom knew, like, I was a kid who always was gonna try everything. Like, if I thought it was something I wanted to try, I was gonna do it. I was also a kid who would not put effort into things initially that I didn't think I could succeed at. And that was where the working out part kind of started to change my mentality a little bit, which was really, really key. I didn't realize to going up and keep doing this later in life. But I told her, I was like, yo, I think I want to change my major. And in her mind, she was like, dude, you've been wanting to build cars your whole life. Like, you want to be an automotive engineer from the time you were like 7 years old.
Right.
All of a sudden now, with 1 year at Ohio State, you want to do something different. And I said, you know what? I'm still building stuff. I'm just building people. And that's way more complex. I was like, if I wanted to build cars, I could go to tech school.
That's a poem right there.
I was like, I honestly could go to a tech school and learn how to mess around in a car. I could watch YouTube and figure out how to do that. Right. Like, I'm not going to spend my schooling years doing something that I know is just a hobby now because it's just the building process I enjoy. When it came to building myself and then trying to relay that into other people, I was like, that's the biggest challenge I could get. Right. If I could build people, they're so various and so different in how they think and how they look and how they move, then I'm definitely better off. So I realized it was a little more open-ended, and me being a little bit fascinated by human psychology just kind of worked out. My mom, again, she looked at me like, bro, you are crazy. But like,
how's she feeling now?
She's happy about it. Yeah. Because she knows the one thing is, it's like, if it's something that I'm really trying to do, I'm not going to do it half.
Right.
Like, I don't like losing, which is part of the reason I used to not start stuff if I didn't think I could win. But she also knew that if it was my decision and I was willing to go through it, she's gonna be like, "Hey, I'll let you fall if you're gonna fall, but
just she's gonna fall doing
learning something." You know
exactly, man. There's a quote that that relays a message about that, and it's like, I'd rather fail at what I love than succeed at what I hate.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of that mentality that you took, man. And that's the same thing with me, man. When I got into this, I was like, yo, all right, I'm gonna do this motivational speaking thing. Like, in sports, I could have been good. I should have been good. I was not, because I didn't like working out. Yeah. I hated when I graduated college, I was 6'3", 205 pounds. I ran a 4.5 40. Dude, I was squatting 315. I was benching 275.
NFL already.
But I can't even play sports anymore. Like, there's no, like, at this point, I have nothing left to play for. I only play at the YMCA just to win all of the games on Saturdays. Right. So I wasted a lot of time BSing. And so now I got into this, and like you, I'm saying to myself, all right, I want to see what happens if I give this my all the way I should have done football, right? And so that's kind of where you are right now. It's like you're giving this your all.
Right.
What does giving this your all look like? Like, what does the schedule look like for you?
So I'm gonna get there. What's fascinating when you're talking about like doing something, I'd rather fail at something I'm good at than succeed at something that I'm not, right? Or I love, right? And what's fascinating is that exact point is kind of where I got to with this. Okay. I started realizing, like what you just said, if you could actually compete, right, in a sport like football, same thing for me, right?
Right.
That requires the most out of you. Like, you know what coach used to say, right? If you're not going 100 miles per hour, you're going to get hurt.
Yes.
You have to move at 100. That means you have to move at 100 even when mentally you don't want to.
Right.
And I started realizing, yo, if we could do that, we could do that for stuff we actually like at a way bigger level. So I started taking that exact lesson you're talking about and being like, let me see what happens. I can tell myself. That's why when people ask about like affirmations and stuff, I mean, like they don't work as far as anything beyond what you already believe. I can say I don't like working out, and it's not negative self-talk because I know what I mean by that. I don't like pain, right? But what I do like is overcoming an obstacle that I didn't think I could overcome, and that's what working out taught me, right? And I always tell people, whether you're LeBron James or you're the person getting off the couch, y'all both have the same thing in common, which is you got to do more than what you can. It don't matter where you start. It don't matter where you're at. If you're LeBron, what you can do, I'm impressed because how does this dude keep getting faster and stronger?
Right.
And so people just imagine what it looks like for LeBron to go harder than he is. It looks the same for you to get off your couch.
Right.
The actual struggle is the thing I can't do yet that I have to do to get better. And then once you get better, it's the next thing you can't do yet that you have to get better at doing. So for me, I was like, I like testing that theory. Now, I don't put crazy stuff on my goal sheet. I'm not trying to deadlift 500 pounds, although I got close.
Right.
But what it is putting things on my goal sheet that relate to real life and then trying to relate that to other people for their own lives versus doing what people kind of tell you to do.
Yeah.
And I really latched on to the idea of constantly putting myself in a less than comfortable position and then constantly seeing what happens on the other side without trying to like calculate before I start.
Right.
So that concept alone became something, once I got to the Equinox level of training, when I realized these people were paying like $1,500, $2,500 a month to train with us, I was like, yo, this is more like coaching than just training.
Yeah.
Right? Like the mechanics are the same. At the end of the day, if someone asks me how to get them to do a deadlift, there's two parts to it. One, it's a very simple mathematical equation for us who do this. Right? It's you do this, you move at this capacity, your body should eventually get here.
Right.
But there's the psychological aspect. I have to know you're capable of it before you do. Not only that, I have to convince you that you're capable of it.
Yeah.
Even though I just wrote all this stuff down and you've seen what you were able to do. And that was the more fascinating part of it. Because, like I said, as a mechanical engineering dude, I can build anything. I can put something together in a combination of processes that'll get you an end result. What I can't do is account for, did you get sleep? Did you eat well? How's your job going? How's your life going?
Right.
Those things, if I can help you pinpoint those and put them together.
How do you help someone pinpoint? Because all of those things matter. All of those things take you know what I mean? They're all a part of this whole fitness journey, you know what I'm saying, your mental health.
Right.
How do you, as their trainer, help them with that?
So what I do is relate everything back to their real life.
Okay.
Right? Because you're not just doing it for the gym and the aesthetics. Those are going to come. You're doing it for all the intrinsic reasons. If it's not intrinsic, it's not going to happen.
Right.
Right? So like, let's say with you in sports, right? The intrinsic motivation is you just don't want to get beat by somebody.
Right.
Right? Extrinsic is the coach saying we need you to do this. Like it's about the stats. That's extrinsic. That intrinsically, I just don't want to get beat.
Right.
So when it comes to the gym, I always tell people like, look, you want to lose weight, you want to look better. That's all extrinsic for real. Intrinsically, do you want to run around with your kids? Do you want to not be tired when you wake up in the morning?
Yeah.
Do you want to feel better about yourself for whatever reason?
Right.
And those are the things that I relate to. So like case in point, I have a 49-year-old mom who does like 36-inch box jumps. And I had a health professional tell me that I was doing too much. And I looked at this man and I said, how can you say that without knowing this woman? You literally have no idea what she's capable of. But you just applying the idea that everyone should just be doing certain things.
At 49 years old.
Right.
Yeah,
she has sciatica and everything. She deadlifts, kettlebell swings, jumps on boxes, 36. And the reason why is she's a lawyer and a mom of two. Her daughter is a junior Olympic level swimmer. Like literally broke Katie Ledecky's junior high school records. Her husband is some high-powered doctor, but she is a partner at a law firm. And as a woman in her industry at the level that she's at, there's challenges every day that she's got to overcome. There's stress. There's people bringing stuff to her. There's people putting stuff on her shoulders that isn't hers. And I said, that's the same thing we're doing in the gym. What's the difference? You see this box. The consequence of you not landing on the box is you found out you can't get on it. You ain't going to die. But at the same time, what you're going to gain from getting on this box is the ability to see things, not know that you can achieve them yet, and then persevere through it.
Right.
So I'll always go like, hey, look, this is just like that thing where you didn't know you was going to win that case, right? Like, apply. This is stressful. Stop attaching to whether or not this works out perfectly, and just attach all your effort to trying your hardest. Exactly. Because as soon as you check that off the box, then you can start to discern where real things are in your life, not where you perceive them to be. Perception is reality, unfortunately.
Man, it definitely is. Like, because like when you that's just like, so a couple weekends ago, Mother's Day, we were using like the virtual reality goggles and stuff like that, right? And even though you know this isn't real, your mind moves into that space. So automatically now this is real, and everything else that's around you, it becomes null and void. You don't see it anymore. Your perception is, this is where I'm at. I'm looking around. Oh shoot, I'm in this scary room and stuff is happening.
So look, I'll give you a perfect example. That's a really good segue. So when it comes to movement, and when it comes to specifically resistance training, our brain is designed to keep us alive. Your brain, your subconscious, unconscious brain has no idea what's happening on the conscious side, right? So you show up to the weight room, that stress response is the same fear response you get from being on a roller coaster, same fear response you get from walking in a dark alley. The difference is the perception of what that fear is for you, and that's what's going to dictate how your body responds, right? So if I get on a roller coaster, I always tell people excitement and fear are the same thing, right? It just depends on which one you care about. If I get on a roller coaster and I'm terrified, that stress response is going to amplify terror. It's going to amplify my hands sweating. Now, those same chemical responses can actually be the outcome of excitement. If I decided when I got on this roller coaster it was exciting, all of my palms sweating, my body shaking, it heightens the excitement part of my brain.
Right.
When you go to the weight room, I always tell people, like, have you ever tested out how heavy your weight was? And I'll watch people do it. They'll go and grab, I don't know. First of all, you've lifted that weight before. What your body is doing and your brain is doing is trying to figure out how much you care about lifting it today. How heavy does it feel today? How much do I have on my plate before I jumped up? Right? Now, my perception of this weight is it's too heavy for me. Why? Because all I can do is base it off of my learned experience before that. If I've never lifted 20 pounds, it's going to seem heavy to me. What I teach people to do is detach from the weight. Listen to what your body's actually saying. There's a difference between pain and injury. That gap is where you have to exist. You got to know the difference between being just a little bit uncomfortable and actually being hurt. But you only know that by exploring that range. And most of the time when people do stuff in the gym, they're not going hard enough. Like I told my boy one day, I made a program for him on my app, right? I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
And this dude rated the program. It gives you a chance to rate how hard it is. And he rated a 1 out of 10. I sent him like 5 messages. I didn't get upset, but I was like, first of all, sir, what you're not going to do is tell me this workout is just a breeze. Okay? Like, I can do this workout and not be dying.
Right.
So that's why I said to him, I said, but look, this is the hard part. The difference between me being in front of you and not is when you're not going to push yourself hard, you get that external person.
I need you to write me a program, bro.
Oh, of course. Because what happens is, let's say this, I tell you to do 10 squats, and I tell you to choose a weight.
Yeah.
You have to override the part of your brain that says choose the weight that's easiest. Choose the weight that doesn't hurt that much.
Right.
You have to get to the part of your brain that says choose the weight that's challenging. So even if I get 9, I now know that I need to work harder to get to 10. I really know, not what feels comfortable.
Right.
And that's not natural, unfortunately. Like we're risk averse. Again, subconscious brain is like, I don't know what's happening out there, but it hurts.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But the conscious side of you knows you're trying to get somewhere. Yeah. So you have to connect those two things. Again, intrinsic reason for why you're doing it.
Right.
And then the extrinsic motivators and reassurance that what you're doing is correct. And then you'll get that. I call it the 85 and up.
Okay.
You got to be able to do 85% of your max capacity for anything and above if you want any real change. 85 and below, your body's going to stay the same. It's not being forced to change. Right. That's why the longer you run, the more your heart rate goes down. Because you're becoming more efficient, more comfortable.
Yeah, hey, listen, man, Jesus. Hey, we only 15, 18 minutes in, y'all. Oh my goodness. All right, so look, here's my issue. My issue is when I go into the weight room at this point, I feel like I don't have any more reason to work out because I'm not competing for anything. Like there's no reason for I used to have to go in the gym because I wanted to beat that man. So that was my intrinsic motivation to get into the weight room. That's why I did, and I built the weight and stuff like that, and I got faster and all of that good stuff. That was the reason that I was doing it.
No, that's very real, because that was my reason too. When I lost the competition, I was like, no, what do I do?
All right, but so look, now the reason I need to find a better reason right now to do it. And so when I go into the weight room, I believe I'm goal oriented. I'm super goal oriented. And when I go into the weight room, I don't have a task list of this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm doing, then this, then this, then this, then this, then this. I kind of have it in my head, and I think I'm psyching myself out, and I'm not allowing myself to hit my goals, because it would feel better if I had like a list, you know what I'm saying, and then bench press or incline or whatever it might be, and then boom, check that off. To me, psychologically, that says I did something. Right. And then go to the next thing, and then it says I did something. You know what I'm saying? And then go to the next thing, and it says I did something. Okay. That's what I think for me. I'm not hitting a goal when I go into the weight room. I'm just going in, and it's like boom, 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 boom. He says, and it's like, all right, shit's done. Yeah. And the next thing is like, all right, and then so it's boring.
It is. Yeah. No, it's 100% boring. Look, so I have a very good friend of mine I used to work at Equinox with. I actually did an article on my website about him. He's a 2-time national physique champ. And what was interesting is me and him got real close because he's on a competition for aesthetic base. I know the aesthetics are going to come, but I'm competition based in my head as well. Like you said, I started learning how to compete with myself. But you're right. It was also when I saw somebody else do something, if I think I could beat you at it, I'm going to try it. Right. So what would happen is when I was working at Equinox with all these dope trainers, every time I saw someone do something, I'd be like, yeah, I'm going to do that. I'll give you a perfect example. We were doing this Turkish get-up thing where I had never attempted above 100 pounds for this thing in my life. But I saw my coworker do it. Mind you, this dude is like 6'3", 215, like prototype baller. Right. But in my head, I don't care. So I'm like, I'm about to do this. This
means nothing.
So I'm not kidding. And when you learn how to explore that space for yourself, it still becomes motivationally driven by your own limitations. I tried a few times, and I was like, damn, I got it up. Damn, I didn't get it up. I may have done like 15 reps, bro. I can't even believe I did this. I'm still wild to say. And I finally got it up. And then what was happening is, after he saw me do it, we got to 115 pounds. I walked downstairs. I was watching him do 120 before I went down, and he couldn't get it. When I came back up, he's like, yo, I did it. And I'm not kidding you. Right then on the spot, I was like, I didn't watch you do it. I can't do it. That's exactly what I told myself. Yeah. I was like, I didn't watch you do it. Now, the next day, I went home and I sat on that, and I was like, why do I need something outside of myself to make me go hard? Miyamoto Musashi, which is the whole basis for this brand I have called the Running Code, because Ronin's the master samurai, right?
Okay.
And Miyamoto Musashi is the most famous samurai because he didn't die. You know, samurais fight, you don't make it out. Like, right. If I slash you, I win. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. But what he was always talking about was like, you know, there's nothing outside of yourself that can allow you to become bigger, faster, stronger, or smarter. You know what I'm saying? Seek everything from within. And it's right, because even if I say this other person is my benchmark for my competition, at the end, it's my internal drive to see myself get that far.
Right.
So what I started doing was I had to learn how to detach the external part from it and attach really hard to internal. Right. So when we're in the gym, one of the things I preach to my clients is the harder it gets, the less I want you to focus on the resistance. Right? Which is hard to do because you're getting all the neuromuscular feedback. You're getting the soreness from the muscles.
Right.
You're getting the fatigue. You're getting the lightheadedness. You're getting all these things. Damn, this is heavy. I only did 6 and I got 4 more.
That's immediately when your mind goes to.
This is, how am I going to do 4 more when it's so hard to do 6?
Yeah.
So what I always tell them is, focus on your mechanics. Focus on your process. Because that's what we need in real life too. Like we said before we started this, right? You cannot judge how far you are and how far you have to go and use that as your like measuring stick for if you're going to make it or not.
Right.
You literally just have to keep sitting in that process and saying, I'm going to keep working on this.
Yeah, that's it.
I'm going to keep working on it. But the same concept came from the gym, and I said, damn, if I was focused on the outcome of something I haven't done yet, my brain would literally lose itself. Because it would be like, bro, you've never done it. How are you asking me whether or not you're going to make it? I don't know.
Right.
But when I said, all right, I could use that as motivation. I can flip that and say, since I don't know, it's equally possible that it works out, that it doesn't work out.
Right. Yeah.
I just choose to believe in the fact that it's going to work out.
Exactly. And that's the thing, man. Where I had this conversation a couple of weeks back about when people think about doing something, they automatically convince themselves, or they automatically talk themselves out of it, as opposed to talking themselves into it. They give themselves every reason why they can't, or why they shouldn't, or why it's not going to work out, or it's I don't have this, or I should wait a little bit for this.
Right.
No, like this, you're doing too much self-talk, right? The biggest enemy that you have to fight is the one you lay down with every day. Right, and so same concept in the gym. It sounds like, right? That I have to do that because I'm telling you, man. Like when I be in the gym and I be like, oh, all right, I'm not even about to do this. Listen, I'm not competing, so why does it matter? Why does getting to 12 this third time matter? It doesn't matter. I can do 8.
You know, part of it is also finding stuff that's a little more interesting.
Right.
Like for me, I don't like the reason I brought up the NPC dude is that bodybuilding training is boring as hell.
Right.
You're just standing there doing curls. I was like, bro, you'll never catch me doing curls in the gym.
Yeah, I did some P90X or some.
Yeah, exactly. You want something that because. My mind and yours, same thing. If I'm attached to athletics, I can tell this is making me an athlete.
Yes.
Anyone can stand and do curls. Like you said, I don't like the treadmill is boring. I can run outside. There's stuff going past me.
Yep.
So a lot of it is identifying who you are in relation to stuff. And that's why I say identifying what matters for you. I can't do that either, bro. I cannot go and do straight bench press. I can do these alternating press. I can do these crazy style of push-ups. I can do all these other chest exercises. Why do I need to choose the bench press? And part of what I do for clients is I always find the thing that they're going to work the hardest at because that's what's going to give them the greatest return.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like me. I don't like running. There's 20 other ways of doing cardio. Everyone does running because we can. Literally, everyone can functionally run. 90% of people should not because they eventually are terrible at it. But that's again, they didn't take the time to explore that.
Right.
And this is why I'm like, yo, take the time. Figure out what matters about it to you. I joke around all the time because I'm like, at this point, half my motivation is I got to be able to beat up every other dad. Like if Brooklyn goes to the playground and says, my dad can beat your dad, she needs to be able to tell the truth.
She needs to be 100%.
That's why I told Rochelle, I was like, but then you realize like all the other dads are out of shape. And I'm like, all right, well that's in the books. I got that. So like you said, my next box on the list is, you know, I'll do things like I'll set 2-week to maybe 1 month long goals.
Okay.
Even if my ultimate goal is to lose 10% body fat, right? What I'll do is I'm gonna see how hard I can get in 2 weeks. In 2 weeks, let me see if I can cut because I can focus on those 2 weeks. Now after I make that, I give myself another 2 weeks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
And that helps me.
Breaking them down to smaller goals.
Yeah.
Yo, I absolutely love that, man. And I think I number one, I definitely want you to write that workout for me, man. And I definitely want to get that because I think that that's going to help me so much more. And I think, like you said, it's the whole bench press and then get on there and then squat and then all of this. I'm like, dog, this shit is boring. I've done it. I've done this so many times. My mind is like, Jeff, we need to do something different, bro. Like this. And then also your body gets used to the movements, to the muscles and stuff like that, so you don't grow. So we talk. I heard you talk a lot about like technique and stuff like that. Talk to me about the people because I swear when I go into the gym and I see these people putting all of this damn weight on the goddamn machines and stuff like that, but their technique is shit.
Terrible.
Like it is ass. And I'm like, dude, that's not even a squat. You're gonna hurt your back. That's what you're doing. Like,
right.
You're gonna hurt your back.
Right.
So what's something that you can give to these people, man?
All right. So here's the facts. First of all, it is painful for me to go into regular commercial gyms because when I watch people do something wrong. In my brain, I have to help, but I also know like people don't receive help well.
They do not, especially at the gym. Oh, what, you think you're a professional at this?
I'd be like, I'm literally a professional at this. But like, I was talking in the room, you know what I'm saying, the other day, and I was telling people like the hard part about the dynamics of being a man in the gym are hard. One, everyone thinks you're in competition with them, and you don't give a damn about them. Two, they're all doing it wrong just for the sake of what you said is pushing. And then three, if I see a woman doing something wrong, I have to let her suffer. Because if I walk over to her, she goes, I'm trying to talk to her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I have to choose my battles. And I be like, darn, I just didn't want you to tear your ACL because then I got to help. Yeah. I'm a first responder, so I'm not trying to do that. I don't want to use my CPR.
Legally,
you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to use this. Yeah. That's why I'm trying to help you. But when it comes to my clients, I am very big on body and brain connection.
Okay.
You have to get feedback from your body at the most base level and then slowly build on that, but build on it specifically to your goals. Give you a perfect example. If your goal is to, let's say I do the initial assessment, and this is why I explain to everybody, invest in somebody who's going to learn everything about you as a trainer. Because I can, but I'm going to tell you the truth is, you cannot possibly give someone a 3-month workout plan without knowing how fast they're going to adapt, if they're going to be able to stay true to it, and where they're starting at from a base level. Let's say your right knee your right leg, your hip externally rotates more than your left leg. Well, that means if I give you a lunge, where do I put the weight? Do I give it on the right side, on the left side, in the middle, on your back? All those things change the result.
Right.
So that's why I tell people, invest in learning everything about yourself. Do my knees move properly? Do my ankles have the right mobility? And my hips actually moving?
You're a scientist on this.
Yeah, because but that's what gets you the most result. That's how you get the most out of it. And that's what I realized. I don't want to go to the gym and fail. It hurts.
Right.
I have to know that what I'm doing is going to work. For me, like same thing. I'm not doing it if I don't know it's going to work. I'm not. It hurts. I'm not wasting my joints. I'm not wasting. I got a finite number of knee bends in me. I'm not bending this joint if it's not going to work. So what you do is say, okay, I'm going to do the exact version of this knee bend that works for me. So let's say I want you to be able to do a clean, right? The big barbell cleans that everybody likes seeing people. Okay. Do you know how to activate your glutes? Do you know what it feels like when your glutes are stretching versus when your knees are bending? Do you know the feedback difference? Can you tell your brain, like I'll say stuff like, push through your heels. Feel the arch of your foot, right? And I tell people, again, think about all these things separate from the resistance. Because here's what happens when you get further into the resistance, right? If I can do 10 of this exercise, but I can only do 6 of them correctly, do the next 4 really work? Or are they just teaching me the wrong effort? What I tell people is, let's focus on, do you feel your feet pushing on the floor? Do you feel your abs when you press overhead? The more tired you get, if you only have 25% of your energy left, it's going to work if you have 100% mechanics. But if you have 25% of your energy left and you're using a 50% efficient movement, you're not getting nothing on return.
You're not getting nothing.
But this is why when people buy these programs and they go do these classes, I'm always like, look, it's cool when you know your bases. But know your bases so well that they're automatic. If I go to pick up a pencil, I'm going to do a deadlift. My brain knows to get something from the floor, a deadlift is the most efficient way to do it. But we sit down all day. So every time your hips bend, your body's saying knee bend. Right. You have to disassociate these two things first before I can even get you to a deadlift. So you got to do a glute bridge, or maybe you got to do a single lift. I don't know. And I always tell people that's the reality of what I have to tell people.
Right.
I understand.
I have to learn.
Yeah, it's disheartening for a lot of people because we're instant gratification. But your body is the only thing you're going to carry with you every single day. Yeah. You might as well learn everything about it and how to hear it. So like when you hear this little pain, you know you're not injured, you know it's just sore. And I teach people how to listen to their bodies really, really well. Yeah. So that way you're able to communicate with yourself and say, I want you to do this, and it does this. Your body can lift something off the ground with 20 different muscle combinations. You needed to lift it with the right one combination.
Exactly.
And that conversation, like you said, that internal dialogue is different for everybody. And I just try to streamline that dialogue for them.
Yeah, exactly. And find out what that dialogue is. Man, dude, that's really good, man. Oh my goodness. Like this, I'm literally looking at fitness now in a totally different light. Like the way that I look at it right now, man, is something that's just totally different, bro. But
that's part of the industry, man.
Yeah.
The industry, I'm torn because I used to tell people I never wanted to compete in the shirtless Olympics online, right? And I always laugh because you'll see the dude say, hey, do this workout 45 minutes a day for 5 days. I'm like, bro, you're just talking to somebody who can't get one. Right? And you're doing a workout where it's like, if they don't know how to use their abs, these glider crunch arm row combos ain't gonna
work at all.
Right. Like, what you need to know is, matter of fact, you don't need a glider, you don't need a crunch, you just need to learn how to do a plank first. Learn how to attach everything to each other and then move on from there. But the industry, because we want mass marketing, tells people super general rules, but general rules get general results. So it can't possibly work for everybody when we don't know where they started at.
Yeah, and that's the thing, bro. A lot of people are selling these workouts and selling all of these things, man, but not teaching anyone the actual mechanics of it, not teaching them how to do it. It's like, yo, buy this workout, I'm gonna show you how to lose this weight, but if you're doing it in a shit way, you're probably gonna end up hurting yourself.
Right.
You're probably gonna end up injuring yourself, or you're gonna be more tired, or you're still not gonna get the results that you want quickly as you want. But some people think that, I want to get abs, I could just do sit-ups.
Right.
No, it's not. Getting abs and getting a six-pack is not just about doing ab workouts.
Well, there's a difference between making impact and having influence. And I just did an episode on my website with one of my clients. She founded a nonprofit. And this other dude, Ian Callender, great community redevelopment dude, runs all the satellite locations. He started Blind Wino, a big art culture dude in DC. But we were talking about the difference between impact and influence. I want to make impact. Impact extends beyond my actual physical reach.
Okay.
Impact is me teaching you how to do this move better, and that way when you go to the next class, you know how to do it better than that class, and now you're getting results out of that class that the next person's not. Right? Impact is me teaching you something that makes you connect it when you go to work. Like when my client goes like, Brandon, remember you were telling me to disassociate from the actual end result and just work on the task and make sure my mechanics are right, and then hopefully the series of correct mechanical movements will end up to the right big movement? I did that. Remember when you told me to stop thinking about this? I did that. That's impact. I don't care if you continue to buy from me. But I do know is you will, because the longer you do it, the more you realize the next level still requires guidance.
And the result is always going to be there as well. And then here's what I'm thinking too, right? Is that you're telling them to disassociate during their workout. You can also disassociate during your work, during your regular life. When you're in, because I'm sitting over here thinking to myself, yo, when I'm over here working, that's literally what I have to do. I have to disassociate myself, and I have to get out of the talk, because it's always that self-talk. It's always that self-talk that you're sitting there and you're talking to yourself. I gotta disassociate myself from this and say, all right, Jeff, here's what it is. Stop focusing on this. Relax, one task at a time. What you need to do is just focus on this task, and you know the step-by-step formula in order to complete this task. So go through step by step by step. Even if you get another phone call in, even if something distracts you, go back. You were at step 3 and then continue until you complete it, man. That's good. So it's not just one thing that this is helping with. It's on a larger scale.
Yeah, I mean, look, us on this podcast right now is exactly that, right?
Right.
You had to just tell yourself to do the podcast.
Right.
You couldn't tell yourself like, well, in 2 years, I hope I get picked up.
Yeah.
That's going to change your effort level in the first place. And this is part of the deeper part, right?
Yeah.
Do you not get all the professional equipment and not book the best guests you can because you don't think it's going to work? How do you know if you're even doing that?
Right.
How do you know if you're like working as hard as you can based off of how you think it's going to work, or are you just working as hard as you can for the sake of working as hard as you can? Because if your goal is to learn how to work through things at your highest potential, that's what your brain will return to you. If your goal is just to do the thing, your brain's going to give you whatever, right? But like you said, with the podcasting, you can't do this assuming where it's going to end.
Right.
That's going to change your effort level. Mm-hmm. If I tell you to do 10, you get to 6 and you feel tired, are you going to give me 100 for the next 4? Or are you going to say, like, it's not really going to work? I got one thing I'm going to say real quick, so I call it the black waiter theory, right? And this explains exactly the idea of perceived results affecting our attention and our effort level.
All right, hold it right there. Because it's about to turn off.
No, it's cool.
This
theory is crazy.
Hey, yo, because I definitely need this.
Are you crazy? It's crazy I came up with this, though, but you'll get it.
Definitely need this, bro.
My head, like, you know what if I just make it my effort to teach people stuff? And you know what? God finds mediums for you to do that.
Yeah, man. And this is definitely one of them
mediums. Especially with the homies, dog. I'm so happy to see all the Kennedy folks on their
grind. Hey, listen, because Kennedy is winning.
Crazy.
I'm not saying these other people from these other high schools ain't doing
but Kennedy's got some crazy stats right now.
No. Hey, listen.
Kennedy got some crazy stats.
The stats is crazy, bro. I'm like, God.
Stats are super crazy.
No, they out in California grinding. They out. Hey, listen, they out there.
Everywhere.
All right, go ahead.
All right, so look, here's the black waiter theory, right? And this explains, again, perceived effort versus effort for the sake of learning to give effort. Like, you have to learn how to put 100% into stuff you don't think is going to work.
Right. Yes.
So, like, that's not easy. Your brain, again, is risk adverse, right? Like, that was an evolutionary design. Risk reward is how we stayed alive. Go in the dark cave, mauled by a bear. You know what? I'm going to keep going in the dark cave, or am I just going to believe the bear is there and not put myself in a dangerous situation?
Right.
But that's hard because when it comes to stuff you want to get done, it stops you. It stops you. The self-talk says, what if I put it on this effort and it don't work?
Right.
Now, so here's a black waiter theory, right?
Okay.
So, black family goes in, what's the stereotype? Black people don't tip well.
Black people, yep.
Here's the crazy part. Most black people over-tip because they try not to be part of the stereotype. But here's the issue, right? Most black people aren't going to get the service that deserves the tip. So let's say you're the black waiter, you see a black family. When you see that family, do you know if you walked over there with the same effort you gave to the white family who you thought had money? Or are you giving them 70% of your effort? Because so then when you get the tip that's deserving of your lack of effort, you tell yourself, see, they didn't tip well. But the whole time you wasn't giving them 100% effort.
Yeah.
And we do that in real life. And that's the same thing with the weights. Are you pushing as hard as you can because you know you're going to make it? Or are you pushing as hard as you can because it's for the sake of pushing as hard as I can? You have to put the effort in for the sake of learning the effort. So when black families are sitting there trying to give the waiter every opportunity, and the waiter's still giving them that 60% effort because he's like, ah, man, I'm not going to get a good tip anyway. Now, we're both still stuck in that same cycle. You gave subpar service and you got a tip that deserves it. Mm-hmm. But now in your head, you just reassured yourself that black people don't tip well. So you're stuck in that cycle of not giving 100% effort and not giving the result every time.
Black waiter theory, bro. Oh my God. Did y'all hear that? Hey, listen. So, and you know what, man? That's, I wonder now, man.
Think about that.
I wonder, bro.
Think about that.
That's really good, bro. Like I literally think about that a lot. Like when I go in, see, I'm passionate about my tip because I used to be a server.
Yeah.
I used to work in the industry. I did every job at a restaurant except for hostess. So I know how this goes.
Right.
And so like I know what you should be doing, how you should be doing it. I know when I walk past, hey, how you know everything cool? All right, good. Like I know when I see your water halfway down, I'm already coming over. Boom, there you go. Before that, they're like, God dang, I didn't even want that. Look, you may not have wanted it, but I'm gonna make sure
you're doing it for the sake of process.
Yeah.
And teaching yourself how to do that process.
Exactly,
but
man.
People are worried about that end result. That little part could be the make or break for what you learn as a person.
Yeah.
If you were only concerned with like, man, I don't know if they're gonna give me everything, so I'm gonna give this one table all my effort, and they just gonna get 25% of my effort because that 25% choice, it's 100% a choice. It's usually unconscious, and that's what the problem is. People aren't self-aware enough to know when they're not putting in all that effort, so they got the tip they deserve.
Right, and look, and then like you said, it validates exactly what they've been thinking. Yep, they don't tip well, and they don't ever look at themselves and say to themselves, "Well, I gave them really bad service, so I understand why they tip the way they do."
And now you're robbing yourself of that growth.
Yeah,
100%. You rob the other person of the experience, but more importantly, you rob yourself of the ability to learn how to learn. Like I always tell people when people ask me how I figured out stuff out, I had like a 70-year-old lady ask me like, "Yo, what happened to you?" Like, there must have been some trauma, son. Like, nobody be learning this stuff, right?
Right. Like you had to go on a hiatus.
She was like, "What happened, bro?" And I was like, "Listen, I'm not gonna lie. I just paid attention. It's scary how much information you learn by being objective. Mm-hmm. But we're so caught up in this like self-preservation. It's all about whether or not it works out for me that we don't realize, like they say, right? The lesson is in the journey."
Right.
Because once you hit a hill, you're going to have to move that goalpost anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
Once you lift the 200 pounds, you got to do 205 anyway.
Yeah.
I mean,
What's
so
next?
Don't fall in love with the 200.
Yeah.
Fall in love with the thing that got you to 200. Because it's the exact same thing that's going to get you to the next 100.
Yeah, bro, that's so good, man. Look, when I was finishing my master's degree, I had an assignment where I had to. It was a research assignment, research methods, and it was like pick a public place, go there, and just sit for an hour and write down everything that you see, right? Yeah. And I chose a Walmart because you never know what you're going to see at a Walmart.
Why?
So I went and sat at the McDonald's and the Walmart, and I just looked, and I just people watched, man. And I was so in tune with everything that was going on around me, bro. And I was just like, yo, there's so much that I'm learning just from sitting here watching how, you know what I'm saying, watching other people watch other people and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, yo, this is like really good. And you can see dudes who are checking out girls and girls who are checking out. And I'm like, yo, this is crazy. Looking at the people behind the McDonald's counter, cash register or counter, and looking at their reactions, looking at their expressions. Oh my God, here comes this chick with the kids. You got the kid yelling and all of that stuff, man. Like literally, bro, people like you, man, like you. Number one, information driven. You're an information driven person.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
100%.
Can definitely tell. I call myself an information whore.
Yeah,
Listen,
yeah.
Whoever's got the information, I'm coming to you.
I'm coming to you. I want to know.
Wait, hold on. Tell me that again, and then let me write it down. And then I'm going to come back to you, you know what I'm saying, in a couple of months to be like, oh, okay, this was good. Now tell me a little bit more about that.
Right.
So.
But you know what, Jeff? That requires what we just talked about, self-awareness and objectivity.
Right.
Those are two unnatural things, to be completely honest.
Yeah.
That's why I tell people, like, give yourself grace for being human. Like you said, the way we are always programmed to think of the worst first, that's evolutionary one, and that's just how we were taught by this world.
Right.
The world tells you to operate based in fear versus, like, survival versus thriving. There's two different things. Thriving requires risk-taking, calculated risk-taking, but it involves risk-taking. Survival involves not taking risks, and doing what you know is going to work every single time.
Yeah.
And being information-driven allows you, like we were always talking about, disassociate and detach yourself from the information.
Right.
And me and my girl get into it sometimes. She'll be like, well, what if I told you about all the stuff you did all the time? I was like, thank you. I want to learn.
Yeah.
But most people, because I don't want to keep doing something that's detrimental.
Right.
But most people are attaching some type of, like, personal stake in hearing about themselves.
Yeah.
Like when you said you go to somebody and ask, that's like, I don't know is the most powerful statement you can make. Because that is the beginning to absorbing more information.
Exactly.
But most people are scared of that I don't know.
Even if I do know, I'll still be like, I don't know. Tell me
your
because
angles, yeah.
Right, because you may know it. I know about working out. I know about fitness, but
Right.
I've never approached it, and I've never looked at it like you said in the very beginning. Perspective and perception. Your perspective of this is way more scientific than I've ever heard in my entire life. And so now there's a different mental focus when I actually go and do a workout, and I'm like, oh, okay. Now focus on the mechanics of it and not, is this hurting? Because keep your mechanics. You know what I'm saying? Keep your mechanics essentially.
It's choosing what your version of something is, but still appreciating all versions.
Right.
So like I said, when I used to work out and I worked out with the 2-time national physique champion, this dude ate on a strict schedule, and you know what I'm saying, he lifted this on this day and this on that day. I mean, it worked, right? He's a 2-time national champ. Yeah. But me and him got close because he could tell that my approach was vastly different. I'm gonna tell you to enjoy your cheat days.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have my beer and wings. Right? Like, I'm going to not work out 5 days a week, but my approach is because for those 3, I'm gonna go harder.
Yeah.
But again, that's my approach. And we appreciated having 2 different versions with the same outcome. He knew if it came down to it, like I would do stuff like he's prepping for a competition, I would wait until he was 2 weeks out and then try to see if I could catch up. Right? I would always, like you said, you have to seek to not only be comfortable with your own version of it. So I had an Olympic lifting friend. You know what I'm saying? When he was doing Olympic lifts, I'll Olympic lift with him. You feel me?
Right.
I'm going to allow myself to not be the expert on this, even though I know what I'm doing already.
Yep.
My dude was preparing for, one of my coworkers was preparing for a 24-hour race. And I prepared for the 24-hour race. I wasn't doing the race, but I wanted to prepare like I was because I wanted to learn what that perspective was like.
And that's also the competition part of it too, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing that inspires you, right?
This dude was a whole cyborg, and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna see if I can catch you, bro.
Yeah, and that's the whole competition part about it, and that's the part for me where I was saying like, yo, this shit gets boring, and there's no more reason for me to work out. Now that you have someone who is like, okay, I'm competing against this person, and like you said, even though you're not gonna do it, and this means nothing to you, but I'm gonna see if I can push myself to at least, if I needed to do it, I could do it.
Yeah, exactly, and that's all you need to know. And like, but you gotta look at like how many of those things we're doing every day and we don't realize it. It doesn't have to be, like you said, competition for the sake of beating. Competition for the sake of expanding on myself. It's really, like, again, it's what are you putting in the intrinsic basket?
Right.
Am I doing this competing with this dude because I want to beat him only? Or am I doing this because ultimately I know it's going to make me better? Right? So like, case in point, when we talked about each other, right? Am I not in competition with all my other homies doing something? I'm in healthy competition. Like we talk about.
Absolutely.
When I see Solomon knows every time when he see me do something, he gonna get on his grind.
Yeah.
Right? And then he gonna call me, and be like, yo, that's good. And he said, like, one thing that was really cool was he said, when we talk, he feels like his accomplishments aren't bragging. And we have a real big issue because when we talk to each other, we don't talk in the sense of like, bro, I just saw you do it. I know it's possible. I'm going to find out what my version of that is. Like I told you, I walked in here, I was like, bro, I got an iPhone and some AirPods. I need to step my game up. Like, damn.
And, bro, it feels so good to feel like when you tell someone that you accomplished something that is not bragging, bro. Yeah. And I have one other friend like that. Who I talk to now, we talk every morning. Like, because like you said, it's motivating, it's inspiring, and I definitely want to add you to that list of people to call in the morning. Just because, bruh, I like you said, why do I want to do this? Because I like hearing wins, bro. I like hearing success stories, man. I want to know how you got to do what you do. Like, call me and tell me every win. Because when you win, I'm like, all right, bro, I got to get, that makes me get out of bed.
Yo, the biggest change for me was when I started training people on the level of who I train right now at Equinox. Mm-hmm. Like, seeing people who had literal huge companies and millions look at me and be like, yo, teach me how to be better. And that's when I was like, wait. I was like, I'm your coach, right? Like at one point I had to sit there, I was like, I literally teach this person how to become better physically, mentally, every other day. And I was like, why am I robbing myself of this same thing? If someone is willing to pay me all this money, and I had to do it, he was the president of Clark Foundation. His job is to write $1 million checks to different foundations. And one day he said to me, B, on some real, sometimes I don't know if I'm writing it for the right organization, like I get nervous, and I said, yo, it's crazy. Is all these people look to you to be the sole person to decide this. So they all believe in your ability to get it right more than you do. And I said, that's rough, right? Like, I get it. That's stressful. But I was like, but your job ends at believing in something. You can't control whether or not it's correct.
Yeah.
But just get really good at believing in something. And I did this thing with him one day where I was like, he wanted to do pull-ups. I'd never seen him do the drugs before outside of our training. Mm-hmm. And again, let me put my head in his head.
Right.
I was like, yo, Joe, I'm about to write down how many pull-ups I think you can do. I want you to get up on that bar and do as many as you can and pick up my iPad. Mm-hmm. I got some magic trick shit. And he did the number that I wrote down.
Yo.
And I told him, I was like, Joe, all I did was assume what I think you can do versus that gray area. And again, I practiced this. My nonverbal communication, my ability to observe people is really high. But at the same time, Joe had to tell himself, I don't know what this man wrote down on that iPad.
Right.
I am not about to let some phantom number beat. You see what I'm saying? You have to play on that. And when I started realizing that these people in this position were the one thing I've learned about people in those really high positions is they are excellent at taking information.
Yes.
They are incredible because, like you just said, what they don't know is what they need to know.
Yeah. Information changes situations.
Information changes. Something you've looked at 20 times, if I give you a new piece of information tomorrow, the 21st time going to be different.
It's going to be completely different, man. That's why I go back and that's why now a lot of those books got me to where I am right now. But now that I'm here, I want to go back and reread them because I believe they're going to get me here. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm think like I was just last night out on the balcony with my girl, and I said I want to read Rich Dad Poor Dad again because when I was trying, like that helped me to get to the thought process of saving money and stuff like that. But now that I have the money saved, I need to read it again so I can figure out where to put it, how to put it, how to, you know what I'm saying, how to make it work for me essentially.
I think people, understandably so, the only commodity or the only asset, well, I don't know, whatever we're going to call it, that we don't get back is time. And I think, like, I listen to people talk about relationships and work and working out and like all this is like, oh, but my time. Is your time ever wasted if it's actually making you better?
No.
Yeah. So that's why I was telling you, like, you didn't waste your time in a bad relationship unless you didn't learn anything from it. You didn't waste your time. Right. If you're going to take some time, like you said, to reassess things afterwards. Yeah. Now, granted, you can't do this all the time, but me, being the analytical person, I'm overanalyzing everything I do all the time. I would sit there and think about a conversation I had 2 months ago and have a different response and be like, damn, I should have said that. But if you take your time to at least assess yourself objectively in enough situations, you literally start to get a running tally and a running building book of yourself to always go back to. Yeah. And we just don't pay enough attention to the objectivity. Objectivity is really hard.
Bro, it's so
hard. Like, self-awareness is a never-ending process. Because 2 weeks ago, like you said, I'm not the same dude from 2 weeks ago, right?
Right.
Something happened, I paid attention to it, and now I see it differently. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with certain things staying the same, but they have to evolve at least.
Yeah.
Right? A chicken is a chicken. It may have evolved, but it's the same chicken. You know
it's the same chicken. Bro, I wrote a line a while back for a poem, and I still haven't even gotten it there. And it says, my mind is my greatest asset, but also my greatest liability. I can think through anything, but overthink just about everything. Ooh. Like, there's nothing that you don't feel like you can't think through, right?
Right.
But the littlest stuff, you'll be like, I don't know, should I?
Too many different
it's like, I can get through a whole escape room by myself. But opening this jar, I'd be like, how should I? Opening my can of peaches, I'm like, if I pull it all the way back, the juice is gonna squirt on me. So let me pull it a little bit and then go. And then, but it's just like, bro, why are you? You know how to get through a whole escape room by yourself, but you're overthinking this little small thing.
We just, I think people just have to fall in love with, like you said, information gathering more.
Yeah.
It's interesting and ironic because I talk to my clients a lot. One of the guys I love talking to the most is Tim Chi. Now, this dude founded Blackboard.com. This dude is the CEO of Wedding Wire, co-founded Wedding Wire.
Wow.
And now the CEO of the bigger company that bought it is called The Not Worldwide. And I see this dude every day. I mean, about 3 times a week I used to see him before COVID. And I started realizing like how valuable it was for me to be able to sit in a room and have a conversation with this dude.
Right.
Because all of our conversations are very fitness driven. Mm-hmm. They're all mental process driven because he, like he said, Brandon's got the mechanics.
Right.
My job is the mental side. Brandon helps me with the mental side, so we have conversations. And it's interesting because he talks about it all the time. He said, one of the shows I had him on, his line was, how quickly can you go through that scientific process? Come up with an idea, come up with the different possibilities, test the idea, and then retest the idea, and then start over. He was like, getting used to that cycle is super important. But I also told him it's crazy because now that we have all the information to go through that cycle with, I found people use it less. It's like all of our access to information has made us lazier about seeking it out.
Wow.
Isn't that weird? It's like, you can look up anything you want, but people will still ask you how to get somewhere. And I'm like, bro, we have 20 GPSs.
Hey, look.
3 are on your phone, 2 are on your car, and you're going to ask me how to get you there.
People ask me all the time, the Lion backpack. Where did you get that? Where my gosh? You realize that if you just went on the Amazon and typed in Lion backpack, this would come up. This will be the first one that comes up. Not any old line. This exact one, right. But they want, like you said, instant gratification. They want it microwave, so they want it's the convenience that they're paying for, right? That's why gas stations charge $6 for a candy bar when if you go to the dollar store, you can get it for 99 cents.
Right. But what you said is it still rings true. It's like, this is why I've had to stick to my guns in my training. One, it's not cheap because I want you to invest in yourself.
Right.
I did the math. Russell Wilson, they said, spent like $1 million a year. If he only took out of his $35 million, not including endorsements and all that, that's like 2.8% of his income.
Right.
You make $60,000 a year, that's like $125 a month. Most people spend that in a week on things that are bad for them. Like literally, I've done the math with somebody sitting in front of me, and I was like, Charlie, you're spending like $600 a month on things that are not helping you.
Right.
Why would you not spend $400 a month on something that's going to help you live forever? Right? I mean, like, not help you live forever, but it's going to continuously pay you back.
Exactly. It's going to continue to advance.
And it's just about the value we place on it. And for some reason, our physical and mental health is really low on the totem pole.
And I don't understand why.
Some of it is American society driven because America is a business. It was a business from day one. Columbus came here to make money for Britain. He did not come here for any other thing. So, like, this country was a business from day one, and that's what we've taught people. But what it is if we look at it and say, look, let's actually recoup the personal value from stuff, you stop looking at every task as daunting and you start looking at it as rewarding. Even when it's challenging, it's rewarding. And that mindset is something we have to have.
Man. Oh gosh, hey, listen. Man, I hope these people are gonna go back and listen to this and re-listen to this.
I mean, between me and you, I think they are.
And go back and
now, you know I'm going to get you on my joint. I've been trying to see, it's different when I do 2 people. The hardest part I've realized is, which I need another person to help me with, is making sure I get 2 people with timing. You know what I'm saying? It's like getting schedules together.
Yep.
But it's tough.
That's super. It's always difficult, man. I had another podcast before this one, but she ended up canceling on me. But I was, it's all good. Yeah. But all right, man. So dude, we've covered a lot, bro.
Yeah.
We've covered a lot, bro, and this was such good information, man, for the body, for the mental, man. Do you meditate at all?
Yes. I started, so it wasn't easy because you said like that overactive brain. Like I would go into my meditation and start doing like, am I meditating? Am I deep in my thoughts? Am I out of my thoughts? Have I really detached? It's like I can't.
Right.
Yeah. Right. Like I'm saying, wait. Am I at that point of peace yet?
Yeah.
It's like I'm talking to myself, so I'm not at that point of peace. But I try.
Good. Yeah. That's good. So I learned, number one, I can't meditate at my house. There's too much that goes on, or that's too much that I'm thinking about. Oh shoot, I should put this up, I should put that up, I should do this, I should move that. That one thing that was in the back of there, I should probably move that. So I'm like, all right, get out the house. And so I love meditating out in nature. And I just wanted to ask you that just because, man. What are some final thing, some final words of advice, or some final words, man, that you can kind of give? Now, granted, you've given us 60 minutes of words and advice.
No, it's
man.
It's cool.
But
I got it.
Just some things, man. Because number one, we got to do this again. I got to have you back on, man.
Sure, I appreciate it, man.
And within like the next year, because I want to see where you've gone, and I want people to appreciate where you've gone and where you've taken this process, man. And I want to hear about your wins. I want to hear about all of those things, bro, because like you said, to me, it's not bragging. Like, I've been having this conversation more and more that it's best. It feels really good to have friends who the only thing that I need from you is friendship. Like, I don't need anything else but your friendship. It's hard to have those people where it's like, yo, can I borrow this? Can I borrow this? Or can I? But you can have actual genuine conversations. And the biggest thing that I want to do here, man, is I literally want to get a group of men, and I say specifically men because I see women support the hell out of each other now. I think before there was a lot of competition with women, and it's like, and it's probably still out there, but I see more women supporting more women now, you know what I'm saying, than anything, you know what I mean?
Very real.
And so I really want to have a group of men where it's like, yo, we can we can do couples stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can have a couples game night, or you know what I'm saying, we can just all get together and then also talk about life, talk about impact, right? And then talk about where we're going, man, in a sense where it doesn't feel like bragging, where it feels like, I'm happy for your wins, I'm happy that you're able to do these things, man. But before you get to that, I need you to talk to us about your clothing line.
Oh yeah, so
can't forget the clothing. I see you rocking it.
No, so I give you a perfect. I hope I don't take too long, but just to give you a perfect example of where reassessing and starting to pay attention came into play. When I first started making clothes, it was like when Dojo DC started. It was men's online consignment and new clothes. I didn't want to spend the money on like APC and all that because even though one, I didn't have the 10 grand to give them, but two, I was like, it's about my clout more than it's about my ability to sell it. So I was like, why don't I just make my own clothes? Because I was like, if I put my clothes next to Marcelo Vallon and all that, my clothes become more valuable automatically. Association. So then I just started making pieces, bro. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I just had a bunch of random pieces. I found this old lady that's like 10 minutes away, and this is why the universe says, just start, and you gonna find it.
Yeah.
I just decided to Google someone who could do embroidery. There was an old white lady, I'm not kidding. Her family got a farm and everything. That was 15 minutes away from me.
Wow.
That did embroidery in her basement. And I found her on Google. And I linked up with her, and she started doing all my stuff. And I just would bring her clothes, like, let's try this, let's just try this. The idea is learn to try.
Right.
So I did that, and I started printing the clothes, and the idea of Ronin Code came up, this whole Masterless Samurai. If you don't know, a Ronin is a samurai that has no lord or master. Their whole existence in that time period was to serve. If you did not have a master, you were like worse than a bum on the street. But Miyamoto Musashi was like, I could use that. I bet. Yeah. I'm still a master of the sword. You don't want this.
Right.
So this lady, she started embroidering my stuff, and I saw, I think it was Joy Club had just gotten on Dash Radio, which was like 1AM Radio, Yes Jules company, and they were doing a Complex Con ticket competition. You can win tickets to Complex Con to promote your brand. At this point, I just started taking pictures of the clothes I have, like Mike and Jess, and like a few homies. Yeah. I didn't have a brand. I didn't have a line yet. I just had an idea. I'm laughing because it's funny. And I knew there was going to be some professional photographers in that joint with drone shots and all that. I literally sat my phone in front of me, wearing my jacket, and explained exactly what Ronin Code meant, which was like the idea of you creating your own reality regardless of what the rest of the world says. Your worth is tied to however much you feel like you're worth. Like, that was the whole idea. And I realized you can be a businessman, you can be a creative entrepreneur, you can be a trainer, you can be a rapper. It don't matter. If you believe your path is yours to walk, you'll take the good with the bad, and that's what it represents.
Right.
And I won the tickets. I went out to Cali. I had Al Harrington, Jesse T. Usher, which is the dude who's on The Boys, was A-Trade. I had a bunch of actors and different people I met out there. It was like a crazy experience asking me for the clothes. And that's when I realized the clothes are cool, but I want the story to mean something.
Yeah.
Because you don't buy Nike because it's a dope check. You buy Nike because it represents winning.
Yeah.
Right? Like Nike sells victory. All their commercials, someone's holding a trophy. Under Armour has Tom Brady and Steph Curry. Both of them are multi-time champions, but you never see them hold a trophy in a commercial. You see them working out. Because Under Armour can't sell winning. They can sell preparation like a winner.
And The Rock, too.
And I was like, you know what? You're right. Because I would wear Under Armour to the gym, but if I'm playing in a game, I want to wear Nike. Yeah. That's how the world did that. So I was like, let me get my story together. Yeah. So I just started coming out with the merch. I try to do high-quality pieces. But it's more so about cultivating the idea of what the code of a Ronin means.
Right.
And then I wanted to re-push the merch. So you can buy merch through the website. And I have a few people working on some new pieces that I'm officially going to release at the end of this year.
Okay. But, that's amazing, man. In the book, David Shan's book, Sleepers for Suckers, man, that was one of the things that I learned from him was don't sell the t-shirt, sell the message. Right? Yeah. Sell the work hard message. Sell the message of winners write history, losers become a part of the story. Yeah. If you're a winner, you want this shirt, right?
That's it. No, I'm not going to lie to you. Look how crazy, you know what I'm tell you how crazy aura, intention matter. And I mean all these things. Like, it's all real. Like, I'm the nerd, like you said. I personally believe that deja vu is just a picture you created of the future subconsciously in your brain, and then when your body crosses it consciously, those two things intersect. And you're like, oh, I've been here before. You visualized it already, but you weren't there.
Yeah.
Same thing with like, and what happened was I wore my jacket to work one day, and I was training a 65-year-old white dude. Not my demographic, I thought.
Right.
But again, if I'm selling a message, he is my demographic.
Right.
If I'm selling the message of being an entrepreneur doing stuff, he is. And he asked me where I got my jacket, and it was a jacket first jacket that I got embroidered. And I told him it was my line, and he stopped me right then. He's like, before we go upstairs, I'm going to tell you something real quick. He's like, I'm your audience. I was like, what do you mean? He's like, the people who want to do what the hell they want to do and have people follow them. It's like, it don't matter what they look like. He said, I run 10 dealerships. Each one of my managers is trying to get to my position. If I wear your jacket, they see success is what's wearing this jacket. Then the people who see them are going to be like, well, those people are more successful than me. And I was like, yo, Paul, like, this is the craziest thing ever. Changed my whole mindset.
Yeah.
I wore that jacket to Uniqlo one day. The manager was like, yo, where'd you get that jacket? I was like, yo, I designed this joint. He was like, how much? And at that moment, I was like, this is where I can create my worth. I said, $275. He was like, yeah, that sounds about right. I was like, oh, snap. Right in my head, I'm like, oh. Yeah. And like you said, bro, I realized, like, the story is what's worth it. It doesn't matter what you put the name on. It matters what the name means.
Yeah.
So, same thing with you, like you're doing, bro. It's cultivating the idea of who rocks this rather than what. People still buy Apple because it's a lifestyle thing. And Apple is losing to Samsung at the end of the day in technology. Yeah. But Apple makes something for cool people. Being part of Apple means something. So I want Ronin Code people to recognize you don't got to be a millionaire. You don't got to be... You could be anyone and be a Ronin. You know what I'm saying? Like, my 6-year-old daughter is a Ronin right now.
Right.
It's a problem. I shouldn't have created such a monster. But she's just too smart. But it's cool. I wanted her to question stuff. I don't want her to just take it.
Exactly.
So, the brand definitely... I'm coming out this year. I have the leggings, the t-shirts, the long sleeves, the crew necks. Nice. But this year I'm dropping the women's bike shorts, the men's shorts, t-shirts, and the crop crew necks.
All right, man. Listen, I'm gonna be looking out for it, man. Really quick. So I asked another girl this. Is there a discount code that people can get if they listen to the podcast? Now we're past
100%.
60 minutes in. So the only way they're going to get this discount code is if they listen to it all the way through.
100%.
We'll work that out.
We'll work that out. I'll do that. Because again, man, my thing is about exposure and impact, bro. Like, one thing I learned, and it sounds crazy, right? It's easy for someone to say when they already got $1 million. But like, a lot of my folks would tell me, like, yo, B. Like, if they tell me, like, dude, you're going to end up being on a TED Talk, son. Like, you're going to end up talking about something. This is the first step, right?
Right.
I had no idea someone would want to feature me on a podcast. This is the second one I've done. If I was to look at this like it was nothing, it would be nothing.
Right.
But I'm looking at this like, bro, this is my TED Talk right now.
Like, I'm prepping for my TED Talk.
Right. Yeah. Like, it's real. And like you said, bro, it was just marrying the idea of the process being more important than the result with the idea that result is still there.
Yeah.
I want the result, but I want to gain something from getting to the result more than that. Because the result is always going to change. I'm always going to move a goalpost. But in regards to like stuff like this, money comes and goes, man. You know what I'm saying? But impact is forever.
Impact is definitely forever, man. All right, so look, we talked about the brand, man. Give us some last words of encouragement, man. Something to inspire, something that the people can take home with them in regards to just overall health, man.
Okay. I'm going to start with what I said earlier. It doesn't matter if you're LeBron James or if you've never picked up a weight in your life. The reality is you have to do something that's more than what you're currently mentally capable of. Mm-hmm. I mean that because you don't know what you're physically capable of. We see stories of moms and kids and people having superhuman strength, and dude who got like trapped in the mountains, right, and cut off his own arm and walked 6 miles. He didn't know he could do that.
Right.
He's not trying to test that theory out.
Right.
But what you have to believe is what is possible is equally as real as what's not possible.
Right.
You just need to believe in the possibility that it's going to work out more than you believe that it won't. Mm-hmm. And even when it doesn't mean you're wrong. It just is not there yet. Caroline Dweck called it yet. I teach my daughter the same idea. Brooklyn, just because you haven't done it doesn't mean you can't. It just means you need to try.
Yeah.
And then you can start to learn what's for you and what's not. But when it comes to your body, when it comes to your health, don't believe anybody else's version of it.
Right.
Seek out somebody who's going to help you learn your own version of it. And then don't fall in love with the result, fall in love with the process. Because the result's always going to change. Mm-hmm. Once you're able to move 20 pounds, you're going to move 25. Mm-hmm. Once you can do 25, you're going to have to do 30. Let yourself fall in love with the process, and the rest will fall in line. And that's honestly the exact same thing we need to do with our real life.
Yeah.
Fall in love with the idea of learning and growing, and then even the quote-unquote bad experiences are going to give you good lessons.
Hey y'all, listen, I hope y'all were taking notes. I'm gonna have to put like at the beginning of this podcast, man, get your notepad out because man, there's so much information that was given today, man, and I'm literally inspired right now, man. I'm literally inspired by life right now, like to actually go out, and I have a vendor event that I have to go to after this, man, but I'm literally going to be thinking about this conversation that we had and looking at life and looking at exercising and working out and mental health and how all of those things play into me just doing 10 reps of an exercise, of a workout, man.
Right, man. It's crazy. It's bigger than the 10 reps. That's the other line, man.
Yeah. Don't
focus on how heavy it is. Focus on how good you are at moving it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because
bars.
That's a bit. Hey, look, because like I tell people, if I got 25% energy left in me, I want to make sure my process is 100% correct.
Yes.
Because that 25% is going to work well with 100.
Yeah.
If I got 25% energy and I'm shaky on my process, I'm damn sure not getting the real result.
You're definitely not, man. Listen, and if you want to get real results, man, contact this brother. I'm going to make sure that I have his website, his Instagram, his contact information, man, in the description as well as on the video, man. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, look, this is a dude who is in his bag. And again, we're not talking about just financially, man. We're talking about in his bag in every area of his life, man. If you want to get your life right, if you want to get your physical health, your mental health, your emotional health, man. Again, he talked about investing in your body, investing in some. We put so much energy into the things that aren't going to bring us something good. We got to start putting more finances and more energy and more focus on the things that are actually going to bring us the results that we want and that we expect out of our lives. Right? You were put here on this earth to live abundantly, okay? And don't steal this next quote because I'm putting it on a shirt, all right? Look, life owes me a debt, and I owe life a death. At the end, we will both be paid in full, man. Hey, it's another episode of In My Bag with Backpack Jeff. Until next time.
That was sweet.
Hey, listen, I'm definitely putting